Hey everyone, welcome back. As you see what it says on the tin there, F-51D Korean War. It's a Mustang, exactly the same thing as the P-51Ds. I think there was 10,000 of them made, but by this time with some, administrative changes, they become F-51s and were flying over Korea. Interestingly, they really did get hammered in Korea. There's probably a whole episode just on the history of the F-51s in Korea. I think they had the highest loss ratio of any aircraft. Interestingly, from my point of view, I can't help wondering if that was the role they were assigned. Essentially, there was thousands of them left over in Japan, and they were used in Korea as forward air controllers. So essentially, they were circling around, calling in airstrikes, and with liquid cool engine, a lot of them come down. I think only a dozen or so were actually killed in air-to-air combat or come down in air-to-air combat. So they really had a tough time in Korea, which is a shame because everyone knows that they're super cool airplanes. So into the build, again, this is a Tamiya kit, so there's no huge surprises, and this is part of that the Warbird collection. So these are nice little kits. I would recommend this one, except in the case of you being a beginner. If you're a beginner, probably stay away from the metallic finishes. They just add a little bit of headache if you're starting out. Other than that, the fit, all of that, this is out of the box to me stuff. It's not going to be any super detail, but sometimes that's fine. And again, these are, I think in Australian money, say $30. I bought this a few years ago. It was sitting in the stash. So they're not expensive, but they are nice little kits. An interesting thing with a lot of the Japanese, say products, and especially something like Tamiya, they're almost designed that if you do what you're told, follow the instructions, you can get something nice to go on the shelf. It's almost, I'd say almost a Japanese philosophy. I noticed the same with their trains and things. So, which from a beginner's point of view, or if you're just sort of getting a bit more experience, Tamiya is good. You will see people complain a bit that they're almost too easy. Not always the case, but my argument in that situation is see how well you can do it, because I still make mistakes. So the cockpit, as I say, it's pretty basic stuff, but you can get a fairly decent finish. You can see I'm using just some Tamiya brown to do the wooden floor and I think the leather headrest. The rest of it is just black and silver and some zinc chromate. Decals for the instrument panel. No big dramas at all. I use the Mr. Color for where I really want to, what would I say? Oh, sorry, it's Mr. Mark, Mr. Hobby, where you want to, I'm trying to think how to phrase this. Almost want to nuke it and really get it to sink in. I find that the Mr. Softener just has a little bit more kick in that case. So you can see how this is all coming together. That's just me trying to hold this steady for the camera. It's not DTs or anything like that. There's no deeper problems. It's just sometimes it's a bit wobbly trying to get the picture right. So even the decal seat belt, I think in this scale and for what it is, it's fine. It's not something I get too hung up about. You can make tape and buy aftermarket, but honestly, things like aftermarket are going to cost you what the kit cost probably. So it's one of those things. If you're going higher end, I'd probably go up a scale, 148 or something. Like you see there, it goes together nice. So there's no big problems at all. And I think sometimes that's always a nice thing. At the moment, I've got a Vampire on the bench, and I almost wish that the fit was as nice as this one. I see those debates sometimes about wanting the kit to almost, or what would I say, it's a bit too easy, shake and bake, all of that. But sometimes that's what you really want, rather than trying to fight it to get things to line up and all of that. So just personal opinions, bit of a rant. I'm just coming over here with some matte black, just getting this lined up on the, what would I say, I've never figured out what the name of that is, so do hit me up in the comments. It's like a dashboard. It's where you put your sunglasses and packet of Marlboro, I guess, back in the day. I don't know. Yeah, okay. So nice thing about these Tamiya kits is there really isn't much clean-up work at all. And like I say, when you do hit those kits where you do have a lot of flash and other problems, yeah, at least for me, the novelty wears off very quickly. I just don't like that. Yeah, having to work against the kit. I'd rather spend my time adding extra detail or whatever. This is for the drop tanks and the rockets. I still make the mistake here, well, not in this case, but I often do, where I'm rushing through and then I go, oh no, I wish I forgot to drill the holes or whatever. So again, yeah, just watch out for that, because it's easy. There's a lot of things that are easy enough to fix if you do mess it up. It's just that it adds a little bit of extra work and hassle and so on. It's just more frustrating. I think as you get more experience, you just learn to... It's not that you don't make screw-ups or mess things up. It's just you get better at fixing them up, or at least I do. I've made that many mistakes that I'm pretty good at fixing them up. And you'll see later on there's a bit with masking where I come back and fix it up. Again, the fit here is pretty sweet. There's no issues at all. It goes together nicely. I use a mix of thick and thin cement, so in this case there was a little bit of a gap there. Not a fit issue, it was just that the glue wasn't there, so I just come back and soaked some of the thin in. I'm doing the wheel wells here, zinc chromate, and to give that inner canopy chromate look, I've also come in there rather than just the black. I don't know how accurate that is. It could be right, could be wrong. I think one of the things is in these cases that there's almost it depends which prototype you choose. So I have because I'm doing the metallic finish, I have come through and used Mr. Surfacer 1500 black just to try and smooth it down. I haven't done it in this case, but you can come back and polish this to get an even better finish. I did what I'd say the lazy quick route, which was to soak in some Mr. Leveling Thinner just to really try and bring that surface down. Now I'm coming across, I haven't shown it, but this is Mr. Color number 8. It's just the straight up silver. So these are lacquer paints. The others you can use, there's the Tamiya colors. They're fine too. It's just this is what I had. Over the years I've played around and with different metallic finishes, alclads, all of them. But I tend to, at this point, I've just come back to just straight silvers and so on, whether I'm using Tamiya or Mr. Color. So the yellow is always a bit of a pain to paint, or I shouldn't say pain, you do have to be a little bit careful. It doesn't have covering power like some of the other paints, so technically I think the ideal color undercoat for yellow is actually pink, and that's getting into some of that arty color wheels and so on. But yeah, again, yellow, just be a little bit wary of, because you can get into some coverage issues. Masking this was pretty easy. It's silver with some yellow tips, as you can see. No problems at all. It's always nice pulling off masking when it goes well, at least. Bit more frustrating when it doesn't go to plan, but yeah, it's again that just part of the game you play. The wheel wells, because of the way the kit was designed, the coverings or all of that, I was able to use them to mask the wheel wells. So that was actually pretty neat, and that saves just a little extra step of messing around. Yeah, this is actually out of the Warbird collection, this is one of the nicer ones. They're not all perfect, let's say. I think in fairness, they're not all perfect. I do think this one is pretty good, actually. I apart from the metallic finish, I'd recommend it for beginners if you're wanting to go down that route. For my wheels, I do have a Cry-Cut cricket machine. I've just made a template, or whatever you call it, some graphics where I think they're like 0.2 millimeter increments, and I've got a whole sheet of just these circles that I can pick out and mask my wheels and so on, any circular bits. There's a little black bit on the rudder. Pretty straightforward masking this one. There's no real complications at all. This is the cool part when you take off the big chunks of masking. The way I did it, in case you didn't notice, was because I used the black mister surfacer, I just left that as the final finish, masked it out, come across with the silver. So what I'm doing is pulling that off now. There was a little bit, I'd say not overspray or whatever, but leakage almost, I'm not sure the word, but a little bit did come through on the aft side of the canopy. So this is an example of what I was saying before, where I still screw up plenty of times. I'm just getting better at fixing it up. So a little masking job, and that where there was that bit of silver, I just come back and almost dabbed it with the airbrush. So that was an easy enough fix. The exhausts go in, again, really easy, nice fit, no problems at all. Don't forget to but more importantly, do hit me up in the comments, because again, it does make a difference, and especially I like to hear people's thoughts and opinions. F-51s, they're not as well known, like everyone jumps to P-51, but they are the same thing, but you don't really hear that much about the Korean War. And yeah, I think it's almost a shame, because it was an important war. My own uncle, he lost an eye. He got shrapnel in the right side of his head, like blind in one eye. So he was in Korea, and it was really nasty. But like I say, it's one of those almost a bit of a forgotten war. So there it is. It's all come together. Really, really nice kit. One of those ones where, like I say, it's just a really nice little kit. It's something different. Interestingly, I also do have the 132nd sitting in my stash, which was originally why I did buy this one, because I sort of figured it would be a good, what would I say, test bed before I jump onto the $200 kit. And yeah, this is a nice one, but like I say, it's almost that whole Korean War era is one of those ones that tends to get a little bit sidelined, even though it was an important war with some terribly, terribly fierce fighting. And I think, yeah, I've just got it in front of me actually, 200 odd F-51s were lost there. So it was no joke in that sense. Decals, typical Tamiya decals. I don't get hung up on how thick they are and all that stuff. Again, you can see me shaking away there. That's not for lack of beer. It's just trying to get a nice shot. The sacrifices I make to get nice video for everyone. There's definitely no pub issue on that. I'm almost a teetotaler, weirdly enough. I shouldn't say that. I do go out occasionally, but I'm not a big drinker. But so I'm getting defensive seeing the shaking and wobbling there. But yeah, the decals, again, I see these complaints about like they're too thick and so on. It's not something I've worried too much. Like, you can see the thickness there, if that makes sense. But that's why I tend to use the Mr. Hobby decal softener, because it seems to have just that little bit more kick. Having said that, you can see I am using microset and so on just to help give the bonding, but I do think the Mr. Softener or whatever, the Mr. Hobby one, it just it's pretty aggressive, so that actually helps with some of these Tamiya decals. At this point, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's come together nicely. It's a nice little plane. and it's definitely going to be one of the nicer ones that goes up on the shelf. I got to admit, I tried to even zoom in on the decals for what these cartoons are. I think they're mice or something. Someone in the comments might know exactly what they are. They're pretty small and tight, and my own laziness on looking it up and doing the research. So at this point, I think it's all come together really nice. I haven't gone into super detail on the rockets. You can see here I'm just doing some, what would you say, indicative brushing. There's no way I'm going to start masking 1/72 rockets and so on. Some people do. If that works for you, great, but I'm just not in that zone. So I tend to just hand brush at this point. Well, I should say in this scale. However, there is a little bit of a caveat. In the stash, I do have some of the, I think it's the Iajima, Edward and so on. So obviously I'd take a fair bit more care on them. The other thing I'm showing it here, I do have some of these Armour Hobby diorama plates. So they were pretty good. They weren't necessarily cheap, but I actually like the look, and I haven't even painted it in this case. And it also comes with some 3D parts that you can print yourself, or the files and so on. So yeah, pretty nice. It's a cool looking plane, really interesting period. I'm a little bit interested in the Korean War. Like I say, to me it's one of those ones that is forgotten. I do hope you enjoy that, and yeah, I always welcome your comments and feedback. It's a really nice little plane. Yeah, if you haven't done it, go grab one. They're cheap and a lot of fun. So there you are. I'll see you in the next one. And the next one is a FX-148 Vampire, which is a really cool plane, but a bit of a mixed bag at this point. But I'll leave the surprises for the next video. So there you are, a F-51D and Korean War F. See you next time. Enjoy modeling. Thanks again. Bye-bye.